The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Would you come if I asked you to ride with me on this one-way road that leads? Oh, I don't know, but I will take you anywhere you see. I know what you need, and what you got is exactly what I want.
Hey there, welcome to Counterflow. This is James Deacon with Elbert Cuenca and Ryan Cruz. We're going to be, no prizes for guessing what we're going to be talking about. You can just see by the background already.
Wait, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I'm here for an otter box. You promised me an
Oh,
otter
yeah,
box.
yeah.
That's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you duped me again. Okay.
No. Now we can corner them now because they're all here to give you your other box. Hey, we can also give away another one, I think, today. So,
But no one's going to call. I'm here.
yeah, that's true. We can actually do this by, you can just tweet JDeacon72, and hopefully we'll get that on here, and then best interaction will win the otter box. But today we've got 45 minutes of pure F1, right? Because we're wrapping up the mid-season, right? This is
the summer break.
35 laps into...
I just gotta say, it feels really strange to me to be heading into Spa and be having a mid-season report. I'm still not used to the big calendar.
I don't get that we had 3 weeks before Hungary. Wasn't
Yeah.
that
it's like a
three-week break?
it's like a European
Yeah,
1 month
so
European vacation.
What is this, man? Are they government run now? I mean, I was already suffocating. I was already dying of, when that 3-week break to Hungary.
Right.
And then we do it all over again to
Right.
Spa. It's
Right.
just so much has been happening, and the momentum has shifted to, Vettel. I mean, it's huge now. You think they can catch him?
Yeah.
Who's
I think-
they?
I think
You're
Mercedes is
referring
the
to
number one.
Mercedes, of course.
I think 3 now.
Right.
I think we can really safely say Kimi, Alonso, and Hamilton.
Yeah.
And an outside chance from Rosberg, too. I mean, why not? He's won 2 races. Had a bad start, but he's won 2
Right
races.
now, I see a big momentum with Lewis.
Yes.
You know, this whole psychological barrier of making his first win in a Merc, right? So he's finally broken that.
And you can arguably say second, right? I mean, I don't know how much value you place on when you're leading a race and through no fault of your own, a tire goes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would you agree? Would you say that still gives you the same? Of course, you're disappointed and all that, but as far as confidence is concerned, you're
Psychologically, yeah.
Yeah.
Before the season started, they asked him, what are your chances in fighting for wins in Mercedes? He said, absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
He actually
and
said
yet,
that.
somewhere, I didn't read the article, but somewhere I saw on the web just the title comparing his Mercedes now to his 2008 McLaren. Did you see that?
No.
He said that this
What was
car
it?
feels remarkably similar to his 2008 McLaren, which
Great.
of course we all know he won.
So that just means he's got that confidence right now in the car, that he's believing in it right now. His expectations are there already.
His expectations are there. Also, Rosberg, you've got to say. Okay, let's go do the report card. We'll touch on the season, etc. But let's do the report card first with the drivers. Let's start with Sebastian Vettel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Vettel or Vettel?
I think
Is
it's
that
Vettel.
tomato?
I don't care.
Yeah, we don't care. No, because I want to ask so I can purposely mispronounce it. So, Vettel first.
Well, I think I think the first group of drivers would be the people who have been doing well this season or have exceeded expectations. And Vettel, I think, is doing what people have expected him to be in a car that's been proven to be at the front of the grid in the past 3 years. He certainly lost a lot of friends trying to get into that elite circle of drivers with 4 consecutive world championships.
Yeah, well, you have no friends at 200 mph, right? That's the
Yeah,
saying.
and Vettel, especially with what happened in Malaysia, became very unpopular, not just in the paddock, but to the F1 fans who had no opinion of him even before. All of a sudden, it's like this guy is such a I won't say the word, but he's selfish. He's
Yeah,
all
he
in it
is.
for himself at the expense of Mark Webber. Now that Mark Webber announces retirement, then you're all feeling a little more sorry about the guy saying,
Yeah,
well, you know.
yeah, that's true. Let's touch on Alonso's recent comments about what do you want for your birthday? Someone
I
else's
think
car.
mountain out of a molehill.
You know what?
The media. I mean, we have this long break. There needs to be something to be talked about to keep us busy. For me, it's just a little too much ado about nothing. I mean, he made some comments. Lucas says, "I didn't like those comments," and then all of a sudden, there's a big story there.
But I think also, I guess my point here is that Alonso made a very obvious comment. It was almost like saying, "I'm driving a red car." Okay, but I understand where Lucas coming from to a certain degree. It's like, it's not by saying something like, my car is, I wish I had someone else's car. It doesn't achieve anything. It's not going to make your car go faster, so why say it publicly? I agree with that. But what I disagree with, and I actually have an entire article dedicated to this on Wednesday, and what I disagree with is, while a comment like that won't make Alonso's car any faster, Montezemolo's overreaction could make the car go slower. Bear with me. I do have a point here. By him reacting the way he did, basically showing him where the door is, right? Drivers will come and go. Great drivers will come and go. Ferrari will always remain. Blah 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 blah. He went on a long ass
Tirade.
yeah, over that, and he basically showed Alonso that okay, if you want to leave, it's like that. Then there was a very convenient press release about Kimi possibly coming to Ferrari. That could have all been part of the psych wars. The reason I say it'll make the car go slower is you, on one hand, retain Massa, who has scored just a touch over half of the points of Alonso has over 3.5 years.
Yeah, but you mean over 3 years?
Over 3.5
Yes.
years, it's like 960. I just did the math today,
Okay.
and it's like 960 versus 400.
Yeah, because
something.
this season it's just about under half. of
Yes,
his
and
points,
every
yeah.
season has been somewhere around half or under half or just a touch over half. So we can safely say he's done half the points.
Yeah.
Yet Massa is untouchable. You can't tell me that it's what I'm thinking here is that Lucas' overreaction. Maybe he's a megalomaniac. Maybe he's ego. He's saying nobody's bigger than the team except me,
Which he is.
which is counterproductive. It's a do what I say, not what I do type of thing. So on one hand, you're saying you can't speak anything about the team, but on the other hand, I'm going to emasculate you in front of the world because you have no loyalty. And I place loyalty above talent. Just look at Massa.
Yep.
He's loyal. He's number 7. But I'll keep him because he's loyal. And he plays ball. So it's a counterproductive management that rewards loyalty over talent, which creates sipsiperos rather than champions.
Okay.
He surrounds himself with people that will just, you wouldn't think that F1 is a cruel sport. It's ruthless. There's no place for, oh, come on, he's a nice guy. No, he's been he's a number 2 driver, but he's always finishing 7th, 6th, 7th ever since 2010. Next to Alonso.
Although, wouldn't you say that having so much faith in Massa throughout maybe 2 whole seasons was really a stretch? I mean, from the way he was performing.
Yeah, I mean,
people expected him out of there way before.
absolutely. And what's keeping him there? Dominicali as well.
And
nice
his manager.
guy, but he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not that great.
Montezemolo needs to be reminded that Ferrari is not just a team; it's its fans. It's exactly what keeps Ferrari. Is they have the what do you call them? The tifosi, right? Is unmatched, and no other team has tifosi.
No,
Right?
you can't.
Okay.
You'll never say Red Bull. I don't think Red Bull will ever achieve that.
Not even McLaren, not even Mercedes. Maybe in home races where you're near the plant, fine, you have.
Yeah, and it is an Italian term, but you probably watch in the U.S. I don't know if you have.
No,
but
I haven't
I
watched
actually
it
saw a
live,
huge group of fans there with. They look like mechanics overalls, red mechanics overalls. That's in the back. American Tifosi. There was a huge group of guys.
So Montezemolo needs to be reminded that it's really all about the tifosi more than anything.
More than anything, that's right. Nobody's bigger than the Tifosi.
Exactly.
All right.
And Ferrari is big because of its fan base.
And the history.
Yeah,
That's why.
But the history, you can say it goes hand in hand. The history is what it is because they have the fans. Legendary stories of when they win a Grand Prix, no church. on Sunday. All the priests around the street celebrating. Come on,
Well,
right?
that's
in
true,
a Roman
and-
Catholic, nation, right?
Yeah, it's true. And in Maranello, and I don't know how many other places follows, but Maranello, they'll ring the church bells if there's a win.
Right.
Exactly.
And yes, you're right. That's why it leads us on to the next question, where I think now, will Fernando move from Ferrari? Will he go, if there's truth to this Red Bull rumor that he's going to be, his management talk to Red Bull, my take on that is I think not. You know why? I think that unticked box of winning a championship with Ferrari, it's a
Right.
dream of every
Yeah,
driver.
Every driver.
No
correct.
matter, even when they were underperforming,
Yeah.
everyone has to end their career driving and winning a championship for Ferrari.
Montezemolo be damned. I will win the champion. And that's
Exactly.
That's exactly
That's where I'm saying. It's like,
Okay.
you know what? No. I need to tick that box. Otherwise, I'll end up like Senna,
Yeah.
who didn't tick the World Karting Championship box. And it bugged him to death. Bugged him, sorry, to tears, I should. Don't want to use that term.
Plus, everyone feels that it's going to be another McLaren situation with Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, I think
With Vettel
Alonso will be. I would think that he'd be bigger than that, unless he really sees that there is no car there and no plans to put a car together. That's whatever. But I'm seeing these cracks in Ferrari. This Montezemolo's ego actually being bigger than the team, whereas somebody who looked at it unemotionally would say, "Sorry, you're not pulling your weight. You're out. Sorry, Massa. Nice guy and all, but you're out." Domenicali, if we don't get a car by next year, you've had long enough. You could say that his one good year was, I think, 7 and 8. But 7, you could say he was driving Ross Brawn's car, right?
Yeah.
Kimi lucked into a championship that McLaren lost driving Ross Brawn's car. But 08, they gave Massa a good car. And he won the championship for 30.9 seconds.
We all remember
Let's
that.
remind him that.
he was the shortest champion in the history of the sport, both
Not literally
and
yeah,
figuratively. Yeah. This year, you know what? Maybe my theory with Massa, why he's actually, I don't think he can reach the pedals. I think they need to
It's like that episode of Top Gear where they had to put the spacers on the pedals for,
Oh,
for the
Massa.
midget guy.
Richard
What's
Hammond.
his name? When they did the new car. Anyway, I digress now. But Ferrari, the way I see it, I mean, Montezemolo being the way. I mean, legendary. If he's in the paddock, they're all on eggshells. Okay. Everybody talks about all the announcers. You can see Brundle saying it. Oh, a little added pressure to the team. Montezemolo's in the pits today, right? It's always pressure. So that's the way his presence is. Don't forget, Montezemolo was the reason why Kimi was booted out of Ferrari in the first place,
And Schumi.
Absolutely.
and
Schumi as well.
And Schumi. And refresh my memory. Ross Brawn and John Todt, wasn't there some also...
Well, apparently, it was actually John Todt who wanted Schumacher in the team. He still wanted him to stay for the long term.
In 07, you mean like for...
In 06.
Because he left 06, so he
Yeah.
wanted him to stay for...
He still wanted him to stay, but Luca saw Kimi as a more long-term option.
Wow, how'd that work out for him?
Yeah. Well, my fondest memory of Luca was when news came out
2
that
years.
when Schumacher stalled his car in 98, when he stalled his car against Mika Hakkinen in Suzuka,
Okay.
he threw his remote in disgust at the TV. He said it created such a loud explosion. He startled himself.
Who's
Luca.
it? Luca, he also did that in... in 2008. He famously
Really?
smashed the TV
Oh,
again.
okay.
And then he said, "You wouldn't believe the bang that the TV makes." He said, "My daughter in the next room, I gave her a real fright and all that." That was when Massa crossed the line, and then Lewis came in and
Okay.
smugged him. I mean, that was... I always refer to that day as the day that rape became legal in motorsports. I mean, that poor guy... and I'm not a Massa fan, but who could not feel for a guy that... Oh my God! I can never forget his father's face,
Right.
jumping up and down.
I replay that so many times. by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Massa, but I can't, as a human being, take pleasure from watching that.
Yeah.
I find it really, that cuts deep. And so whatchamacallit, with Luca retaining Massa, I think he leads too much with the ego. That's my personal view.
Well, going back to Alonso, it could be very well that he doesn't have really any intention of going to Red Bull.
I
He's
don't
just trying to tell the team, hey, you know what? I'm 32 years old. I've been here for 4 years. You guys, I'm not gonna wait forever. You guys better give me a good car.
Yeah.
And you know, if you look at his manager, who was talking to Christian Horner over the weekend, he would be rescinding from his obligations as the
manager,
guardian
yeah.
of his career.
Absolutely.
Not to remind the team that they have other options out there.
True.
So that too,
I
in
would-
itself, I think, is reading too much into a simple action of, yes, you know, as a manager, it's only his duty to say, look, we have the best driver in the grid in a car that isn't performing. I'm just reminding you guys, as the number one team, that there is an option there.
There's an option there. Also, I think that, well, of course, Alonso would have to go where the most competitive car was. But I think if anywhere, he would probably run back to Lotus.
Possible. If there's an opening there, why not? You have to.
Because what would be the value of getting Alonso into Red Bull if you're Red Bull? You're going to win the championship if you have, what's his name again? Chilton.
yeah, the
you
guy,
still win the
the guy at the
championship.
bottom of the ladder.
Yeah, I think even Chilton and Vettel, with that partnership, would still get them
Yeah.
a world championship.
So yeah, so you do a review. So right now, the driver market is going crazy, simply because Weber announced that he's retiring. Top seed.
The
That's a-
top
right.
seed. Yeah.
That's a given, right? So all this talk about Kimi moving, Fernando, Alonso talking to Red Bull, all of that only because of Weber. So you want to review who is the guy leaving RBR and what kind of guy can fill up that seat. All right. So just yesterday, it was funny that I for some reason, you know, I was watching some F1 links and I saw Coulthard being interviewed to make comment about the difference between Weber and Kimi, because there's talk about Kimi taking that seat. And he made a very good sense that, you know, Kimi has only one value to his name, that he's a fast driver. It's a very important value, but that's all. He's a fast driver. Weber, on the other hand, he's a team player. He's a sport. He's fit. He's dedicated. He will test. He will spend all the hours on the simulator because you ask him to. He's the guy.
He's the package.
He's the package
He's the
you want,
complete package.
supporting a star like Vettel. Vettel doesn't have to do a lot of work, in fact, because you've got someone like Weber doing all the simulations and whatever.
Yeah.
So you need a guy. If you're going to try to fill in a seat,
That's
you
not
can't put a
Alonso.
Kim. It's not Alonso. It's not
And it's
Kimi
not Kimi.
either.
Absolutely.
So there.
and that's
So now you're looking at Ricardo or John-Eric Verne.
exactly.
I would, like I said, you could put Chilton in there. So why pay number one a top driver? Not the money is a big deal to them, but why would you pay a top driver? Deal with two egos when you're just clearly you want Vettel to be the. It's like with Schumacher in the heyday. I mean,
They would choose someone like Eddie Irvine or Rubens Barrichello to support him.
yes,
all the way,
and
and not complain.
Barrichello was the best at it.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Massa
know,
was probably
they
the
can
second
even
best
get a
at it.
Massa.
They can no, yeah, well that's
Seriously.
true.
They can get a Massa. He's the kind of team player that they need.
He is, and I think but Massa, I think Massa's
Well,
really hit his
past
use
his
by
prime,
yeah.
maybe. I mean, he's at the edge of it. He's like in the tire talk, he's at the cliff. Okay.
You know what? I would think that Kimi to Red Bull, Alonso to Red Bull, I think are both.
Yeah.
I would safely say no.
I agree.
But I also would say that perhaps so Alonso, if I was going to put money on it, I would say that he would stay with Ferrari and just see his contract out and not exercise any exit clauses that he may have.
Yeah.
When it's usually they works around performance, right? If you don't give him a car, etc., that's capable.
Kimi's only problem is this: he's not being paid, right? He's in a team that can't afford him. Yeah, well, there was talk. in the
Yeah,
last
you know,
Grand Prix, he
at
wasn't
the start
paid.
of the season, there was talk from an insider, unnamed insider, that 7 out of the 11 teams were in survival mode. Which when you start counting the teams, okay, there's Mercedes, there's McLaren, there's Red Bull, there's Ferrari. Obviously, those are the 4. So I was thinking to myself, wow, so Lotus is in survival mode. If we were to believe that it's true, and several months later, you're seeing signs of it.
Yeah. So there was a talk, and Kimi didn't deny it, that he wasn't paid.
Somehow I think Kimi doesn't race anymore for money. I really don't.
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he-
but it's still an issue when, as a driver, yes, you're doing your job and you're doing a
And Alonso's
fantastic-
one of the highest paid drivers in the grid as well.
So this is the reason
Yes,
why
that's true.
Kimi is floating talk about moving out is because he hasn't been paid, and it's as simple
Yeah,
as that.
exactly. But I can't see him ever going to Ferrari because precisely he left because he really couldn't stand the environment.
Did you see the interview of Kimi Raikkonen this month's issue of F1 Racing?
No.
It's one of those questions from the fans, and they normally choose the more candid questions. And one of the last questions that he was given was, who would you rather punch, Sergio Perez or Luca de Montezemolo? And he said, okay, I can't answer this one.
That's funny. Well, I when these mechanics were here in Manila for the road show, they were really just they were saying all sorts of. He hated Ferrari, and I don't know. Peter Windsor told you the same story. He told me when he said that after one championship, I don't know which year, Kimi rolled up to him rotten drunk in Brazil and just said, I hate F1. I hate everything about it. I just want to win one championship and I'm going to get the hell out.
Yeah, he did say that.
And he did win one championship.
Right.
He got the hell out. And then now Lotus have given him an environment to shine. And he's done really, really well. I think his legion of fans has actually never been at a higher level. Because precisely, I mean, they work with his idiosyncrasies. They work with the... Whereas Ferrari pulled in the other direction. No, you must attend meetings. You must do this. You must do that. No smoking,
and it's been known to work
drinking.
for Kubica as well, for example.
He's the same?
Yeah, when they started giving him more free time to do what he wanted on his own. Of course, we all know what happened.
Oh,
there.
yeah. That
So they're a bit too lenient. But yeah, which reminds me, I did see the pre-race interview with Eric Bouyer, and he couldn't deny the fact that he hadn't paid Kimi on time. His answer was, we have some new funding, new deals coming in.
Wow.
And it's pretty much settled, and all of these problems will go away.
Marlon's talking there. And Globe.
we have a new deal coming. Kimi's out.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk about V6s, the V6 engines, and perhaps even show them the video of the simulation of a V6 lap and what it'll sound like. So in the meantime, we'll take a break. Back with a great video. You got to stay and watch this.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with a game Chubby Bunny, but have you played Chubby Bunny before?
No.
You put a marshmallow in your mouth, you say Chubby Bunny, and you keep putting it in your mouth, and you keep saying Chubby Bunny.
Okay.
Whoever can fit the most in their mouth wins. But we're not gonna say Chubby Bunny. We're gonna have a conversation.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, okay ka na ba?
Okay.
And you're gonna be like, okay na, okay na.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go.
2 at a time.
Okay, I'll learn two at a time. Okay ka na ba? What?
Okay na, okay na.
Good.
I just saw it.
Okay ka na ba?
Okay na, okay na.
Okay ka na ba?
Okay na, okay na.
I won? Okay. No, that's disgusting.
Just one of the many shows you can get here on NMF Network. So just you can join the Facebook page. You can also go on nmfnetwork.tv. And you can check out all the different shows, plenty there to keep everyone entertained, just all the genres. Now, we're going to tune into a video right now about what everyone's worried about the sound of a V6 engine.
Yeah, but if you really want to know, well, before this video came out, look at the videos that of the F1 cars in the mid '80s. That'll give you a very good idea.
Okay, so this is the one thing that most people are afraid of, is that with the V8s gone, first it was the V12s, V10s, V8s, but now V6 turbo. Come on, it's gonna be muffled. So we found this video online, and we'll check it out.
Are you sure you played
it doesn't
an
work for
F1
me.
car?
What's it? PlayStation.
That just looked like watching my son play PlayStation, but I don't like the sound. I'm worried now.
Yeah.
Maybe they might put in some.
So maybe you can give me
Artificial
Yeah.
noise.
maybe you can give me your ticket for next year.
Hmm?
For next year's races, you can give me your pass.
Actually, I haven't had a pass for quite a long time now.
So
it's-
anyone who watched the road show of Lotus F1 in Manila, that was your last chance. If you're not attending a Grand Prix
Yeah.
this year, that's your last chance to hear
exactly,
the engines.
exactly, and wow, that's
Back
I'm gonna
in
miss that sound.
back in 2006, I think I mentioned this to you before. Schumacher's last year. I was watching Shanghai. They were letting some of the lower end teams run detuned V10s. That was the year V10s were running beside the V8s.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
And
Your
you know,
choice, right?
as soon as they fired up the engine at idle, you already knew that it was a V10. Even the ordinary Joe would be able to tell. It just felt heavier in your chest and your stomach. The sound was
It's like
completely
a 50
different.
millimeter cannon firing.
Yeah.
You kind
And
of feel it in your chest.
when I was speaking to what's that driver? Oh man, tip of my tongue. He'll get there.
Max Chilton.
No, the driver. I think I might have told you about him. He drove for Ferrari, like He was alongside Senna, but not teammates. But anyway, I asked him what the best car was because he's driven pretty much everything except I think the V8s.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
He said V12 by far.
Okay.
There's just nothing like it in the world. Anyway, okay. Back to the.
Yeah, just for anyone who's wondering why the shift to V6 turbos, smaller power plants, same power outputs
Mm-hmm.
as the current engines, but because of the turbocharger, you get the same power output, but you get much less fuel in consumption.
Right.
So that's the point, is that F1's trying to be green without
Yeah.
being...
Yeah.
And they have a new curse system. It won't even be
Actually,
called curse
yeah,
anymore.
added to that, you're right. Same power output, although the engine will only be producing about 550. So right now,
Why?
about 80 horsepower is coming from Curse.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, they're going to differentiate it, as you mentioned. It's going to be ERSK
Yeah.
coming from kinetic energy and ERSH.
Which
Because
is-
next year they're going to get energy from the heat of the exhausts.
Okay, and then will it be a button like a boost button, or will it be like the
Like-
CRZ, which uses the hybrid to?
Well,
Actually-
there's still going to be a button, although the boost will last much longer. I think now it lasts about 6 to 8 seconds, but
Yeah.
next year it's going to last over a third of the lap, about 30 plus seconds.
Isn't it restricted to 8 seconds? Not actually. They're
I
just
think-
allowed to use it for only 8 seconds.
Yeah, because they can actually accumulate more.
Yeah.
They can harvest more.
Yeah, they
Which
can
is
actually harvest
crazy.
more.
Why wouldn't they want to go all the way with that? I mean,
I guess they're also trying to find a balance. I mean, in the first years that we had Curse, people were complaining it was too easy to overtake. Then they had to move the DRS zones and tweak it a bit more, not to make it too easy for the drivers, because some straights were just too long, that they're just too easy to overtake.
flip topic again. Just straight. I know it just popped into my head when you were saying Lotus is survival mode. Man, why keep Grosjean? I mean, the guy's like the insurance policy alone's got to cost
Doesn't he
him.
bring in money?
I believe he does, but
does.
I'm sure
to
he
the
does.
tune of 7 or 8 million from I
Yeah,
forgot
but,
which source.
When he crashes every race, practically
Yeah.
3 times in a weekend, sometimes.
I agree with you. Wreck-It Romaine and all, but his report card is actually, it may look bad, but he can actually perform.
When he's on it,
the
he's
guy
on it.
is on it.
He
Yeah,
may-
he just lacks a little spatial perception.
Which race did you think that he could have won? Wasn't it Hungary? If not won, definitely over Kimi.
Yeah, Hungary is probably one of them. Also, we've kind of been seeing Kimi not perform as well as we were hoping, as he would try to catch Vettel in the championship.
But he's not doing bad.
No, he's not doing bad. Definitely,
It's almost like he wasn't paid.
He would
I don't
actually be in the top of my report card
he been
alongside
paid?
Alonso and Vettel.
Yeah, had he been paid, I think
Yeah.
nothing zaps your motivation quite as fast as.
Kimi, there's an extra million in there. Just beat, Red Bull.
Yeah, it's wow. That's a big problem for the team, because as a driver, while he doesn't need the money, obviously it's the only way you keep score. And aside from that, if you don't have the money to pay me, you're not going to be developing my car for sure. So Well, I hope that all goes well because Lotus would be, I think, perhaps the only one that could possibly be a more popular win than Ferrari,
Yeah.
and Alonso would be Kimi.
Right.
When Kimi wins, everyone's happy.
Exactly.
For some reason.
But when Vettel wins,
Oh,
you should- no matter what driver you're supporting.
I love that he showed a picture of a fan, folded piece of paper, put a line that said Vettel, right? I mean Sebastian Vettel, and Vettel autographed it.
Ah, yeah.
And then over the fold it said, "I promise never to put out my finger again."
You know what he calls that? He has a name for it.
Really?
Yes, I was doing this research for this, doing a wrap up for mid-season report for the Star, which comes out Friday. Wheels special supplement, and I was looking up this finger that he does, and he calls it. Somebody said, "What is this gesture?" Oh, you mean the golden one? He actually gave it a name, the golden one.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I've lost
hilarious.
even more respect for
Google
the
it.
guy.
I mean, I came across the
Oh,
golden
my
one. I
God.
said, "Oh my God!
Well,
If there's
whatever.
anything worse than that finger, it's giving it a name."
Whatever little respect I had for him, completely gone now.
Oh man, no.
Let's move down the ranks. I mean, what about McLaren? I mean, that was
Oh,
my
God.
go-to team.
You know,
Oh man.
I don't think anyone will doubt Button's motivation, but how long can that last with that kind of a car? Anyone who knows Jenson knows that he is performing to the best that he can. Although he's also getting some friendly fire from his
Friendly?
teammate.
from Perez.
And nothing friendly about getting whacked in the back in
Well,
Bahrain, you know.
Yes, and that driver, he wasn't performing in the first 3 races.
Yeah, it was
And
Bahrain where
when-
he exploded
And
literally.
the managers talked to him, and he seemed that not to be able to keep to himself.
Okay, but Perez is the one that want to punch in the face. No? That's
Yes.
the one Kimi wants to punch more
Correct.
than
After
Luca.
Monaco.
yeah, that's the one. No, I find Perez a little too over aggressive. I didn't like what he did there in Monaco. Personally, I thought that he forced Fernando Alonso to cut the chicane
Button.
Yeah.
and then he thought he could do the same to Kimi, and
Right.
Kimi just said, "Sorry, man, I'm not," and he just closed the door on him.
Have you ever heard Button swear on the mic, on the radio?
No, actually, I
Because
heard him just calm him down.
I was reading the public transcript of all the radio conversations, and Button actually said, he was talking about Grosjean. He said that
Yeah, why not Grosjean and Perez in the same team?
the
It's a
bleep,
podcast,
the bleep
so you can say.
idiot, the bleep idiot thought that.
So they actually put bleep?
Well, I read the transcripts.
On the transcript, they put
Yeah.
bleep?
Yeah,
Ah.
that was Button.
Are you sure he wasn't talking about Luca?
Wait, that's Button, not...
No, this is Button
Yeah.
talking about Romain.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Okay.
make it.
Oh, no. This is...
So, but I think we can all agree that next year would be a great equalizer, and that a top team like McLaren might be able to climb back and gain respect. I mean,
Hopefully.
Oh, man, I hope so.
I have
'cause,
no doubt. I mean, they have the resources. It's just they went very,
I mean,
backwards this year.
Lewis has got to be just like
relieved,
wow.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
how can you not feel good about a move like that?
Despite the
And-
promise of a McLaren F1 LM.
Yes, and not just that. I mean, McLaren was already McLaren.
Yeah.
Then why are you leaving McLaren? But Mercedes were, and then Schumacher. I felt bad for him actually because he said something recently saying he's surprised by the pace of the
I
car.
read that.
He was actually at Mercedes the 3 years that they were not competitive.
Absolutely.
In between the years that they were.
And I still think that Michael had one win left in him. Not a championship, of
Right,
course.
right.
But, one win. Like he just
Sayang,
sort of
you know.
put everything together properly in one weekend. But he said he no longer had everything, the physical strength. He said that in an interview. He no longer
Yeah,
had
I
the physical
kind of
strength.
had this discussion with my brother who's more into NBA, and I said, "You think Jordan can go up against the likes of the LeBrons and all these guys today?"
And what did he say?
It's something to think about. I mean, it's
No,
hard.
I-
It's hard to figure.
During
I
his
can't-
prime, of course.
Yeah, let's say in his prime, you
Oh.
put him today
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
playing against. Do you think a
Well,
Jordan can go up against?
I'm not a big basketball fan, so I can't. I know, but
I mean, but it's changed. Here's the thing. Here's what I say about Schumacher. All the drivers of today are drivers who idolized him. He was their benchmark.
yeah.
So
That's
who
true.
they are, starting at a very young age and karting, whatever, they were all looking up to
Yeah.
Schumacher. So in the same way, you have all these LeBron James and whatever. I don't really know the players.
Right.
They all looked at Jordan as, wow, I gotta be like that. And at 8 years old, they're doing all these tricks in the whatever courts they could play.
Well, he himself admitted that it was also the physical side, as you were saying.
Yeah, he really did.
That
no,
was a
but that's
factor.
why the argument now. Put a Schumacher in his prime in a car today versus
I've got my own very strong take on that because I think we discussed this last time.
Yeah, and
Alonso
Yeah.
versus Senna.
Right, right.
And then the I got that.
Actually, one question I asked, I had a chance to, of course, talk to David Coulthard. One of the questions I asked him was that I've never seen anyone expound on it or analyze it. But what if refueling were present again today? That would mean that F1 would go back to a series of short sprints, which would make the cars more physical to drive. Because I believe that it would actually be even more difficult for Schumacher to drive the cars during the time that he made his comeback if refueling were present.
Why would you say that? Because of the
lap times would just drop and the cars would be lighter, more
okay. Because
physical to
I
drive.
thought maybe that the compensation for that would be when you're driving a heavy car and it's like a boat and you're trying to. That also is a good point about the V6 engines, right? The fuel tanks will be definitely smaller.
Right.
yeah.
By
you have
how
less
much?
weight.
I think you're talking about 40 kilos.
40 kilos,
Yeah.
which in F1 is like 2 Mazas.
Yeah.
Was it a 30% weight reduction in fuel
Yeah,
alone?
yeah. About
Yeah.
I think from 125 kilos to 80,
Yeah.
something like that.
So that's
Plus the weight of the engine.
Yeah,
so
the
so
weight of the
I'm
engine
all for that. I support the whole V6 thing because of that whole green angle, etc. And hopefully all of this translates to cars, especially the Curse.
Yeah,
unit.
because for a number of years, when you say that everything that we do can trickle down to cars, for a number of years actually, you could not think of a lot of things that could actually trickle down to road
no,
cars.
because
Yeah,
some
they
people.
didn't have they didn't have remotes, door locks, wipers, you name it. No
I mean,
Bluetooth.
Because some people actually would argue that the F1 cars had more in common with aerospace
Yes.
than they
Yes.
did with cars.
Yeah.
But eventually, I mean, stuff like ABS, traction control.
Yeah.
Although
kinetic
ABS was before.
Energy recovery is a huge thing.
Now that's huge, and
Yeah.
that I like to see in everyday cars, and we're seeing more and more of it. Even stuff like I think it's a Mazda 6. These cars are now creating their own power, just so far, just for the electric power steering, radio, aircon, and all
Anything
that.
that they're even trying to get energy harness from the movement of suspension now.
Well, fantastic. In fact, and then some, I don't know if you saw this, but one student came up with the energy hump.
Right.
Well, that was awesome.
The guy from Ateneo, the two students from Ateneo.
Yeah. The energy absorbing hump.
Right.
And then the
Brilliant-
more you run
brilliant
over
idea.
it, it just creates energy and it can power the lights, the street lights. Imagine that's like in subdivision, you've got your humps. And when your car.
Imagine NLEX full of that.
Oh, yeah.
Could have a fully lit up NLEX.
That would
But
The good news is the lights are powered by. The bad news.
here's the good news: no more speeding tickets. Promise.
All right, well, you pretty much got to leave it there. Man, that went by like a qualifying lap, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, we haven't talked about Max Chilton. We were supposed to talk.
Yeah. So who are the two best drivers in your team for the first half?
For the first half,
season.
not just for results. I'm talking best drivers.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely Alonso because
Alonso and Massa? No, teammates.
a teammate.
Teammates.
Ah,
I would put
no.
it down to
I would-
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes.
Yeah, I
Combination.
completely agree.
Mercedes.
Of course, if you were to look at it very objectively, because if you just look at the stats, Pique and Van der Gaard were evenly matched at 0 points each.
Sorry, who's that?
And it's on that note that I would say that they have the strongest chance of winning the
Constructors.
Championship.
You know what?
Second
I agree with you because going through and this will only take a minute. So going through the whole season, the erraticness of Alonso. I mean, like win, boom,
Yeah.
win,
Yeah.
boom, win, boom.
And Massa is hardly supporting him, right? So I mean, in terms of points.
Yeah.
In terms of points, the only thing Massa I think delivers very well there for Alonso. The only one good thing I could say is he doesn't threaten him in any way, shape, or form. And yes, he can do all the other work and etc. And when you have a driver like Alonso, I guess they don't want some drivers work well with with a competitive teammate. Some just thrive when they're just like, no, this centers around you.
And going back to Rosberg, since we all agree on both of their performances, if you look at the drop off in his results, it's actually more of the Mercedes Pirelli package more than anything
Yes,
else.
because exactly. I would agree because Lewis is leading the points, but Rosberg's won more races. What I really like about the Mercedes battle is, for Rosberg's sake, it's elevated them to a new circle where people were saying Rosberg was always mid-pack. They didn't really have much either. He didn't have the car or he didn't have the whatever. Then he didn't have the teammate. When he finally got the teammate, he's old, he's this, he's that. And so how much is Rosberg, how much is Schumacher? And when Lewis came in, and he's
considered the fastest guy in the
exactly.
pit lane,
Grid, yeah.
I mean, and he's holding on. Wow. That's like saying, okay, welcome to the club. You are part of the elite, and we will put you in the same breath as Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, Kimi.
yeah.
And I think Rosberg is on the fringe there. And I think he can only get better from Lewis.
And you know he just got engaged, right?
No.
Rosberg. It was announced this morning.
No.
Oh, this morning, really? Well,
Not
that's
at
news
all.
to me.
So that I'm winner. I'm more up to date than you guys.
All right. And you know about Chilton.
And I know about Chilton.
And you know about Chilton.
I can spend an hour talking about Max
So
Chilton.
Chilton is the worst driver on the grid
on the
now.
grid right now.
Okay.
I mean, worst team, no points, no wins, over almost a second slower.
Yeah,
than
but
his
no
teammate.
points is we're
No,
not
but almost a second slower than his teammate.
Okay.
That
All
says a
right.
lot.
Just before we wrap up, rookie of the year, rookie of the mid-year,
Probably Bianchi.
Banky,
No, I don't have an
Bottas.
opinion. Bottas maybe.
Yeah, Bottas maybe also.
Although he disappeared years.
Bianchi from his lap times compared to his teammate, of course. But
Bottas
Bottas made
Where
a single
Bottas
point
made
for
P3, right? Wasn't like
yeah.
Canada.
And Sebastian and who was it? Sebastian and Fernando, was it? Or no, Lewis. He was P3 with Lewis and Sebastian, and apparently they both asked him, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah. Exactly, because he was actually on the
Right.
press con and
Yeah,
stuff
and
like that.
well, Maldonado was not a rookie.
My-
Good for him, by the way. He scored a point for Williams.
My vote for most.
He did. He scored 1 point, but
Yeah.
didn't his teammate's Gutierrez? No, that's Sauber. His
Bottas.
teammate is Bottas has scored? No.
But I don't think Bottas is
No.
scored. Yeah.
All right.
My vote for unluckiest driver so far, Paul Di Resta. What a guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's there. He's a performer. He could actually show a lot right now, but
Yeah, I think I was looking at the point standing. He almost has the same points as Grosjean.
yeah, but his
Yeah.
car has been breaking down.
Oh yeah.
It's been breaking down, but
And
that's
then
probably
qualifying,
gonna.
Yeah.
miss out, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think
He could
yeah.
actually fill Massa's seat, in my opinion.
Definitely, and they could, and Force India I think will finish well ahead of McLaren this year. All right, that's all we got time for. I'm gonna be going off to the CRZ launch, so that should be pretty good. Be talking about that next week. Till then, thank you to Ryan, Elbert.
pleasure.
Thanks for dropping
Sure,
by.
thanks for having me.
And hopefully we can have you just before the season starts or something like that.
Okay.
The second half. So till then, drive safely, everyone.